Good morning, good afternoon. Today we're going to be talking about 1.9 estimating roots. I can estimate square roots and cube roots. So at the end of today we should be able to estimate those square roots. Estimating or approximating are going to be that same thing. Approximating square roots, we have a few steps. And remember, estimate is a general idea of what it is. It's not going to be an exact because it's going to be a decimal number that's very long, and where estimating or approximating, we can tell about how much it's going to be. First, find the perfect squares or the cubes, cubes, on both sides of the radicand. Remember that the radicand is that number that's inside of that symbol, or that radical symbol. The root of the integer it is closer to is the approximate root. So what that means is, if I have a number line here, my numbers are 2, 2.25, 2.5, 2.75, 3. So remember, these are whole numbers, 2 in between 2 and 3. 2.5 is right in the middle. So if I have, say, the square root of 8, well, we have square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3. So square root of 8 has got to be in between there somewhere. Well, square root of 8 is a lot closer to 9. 8 is closer to 9 than it is to 4. So the square root of 8 is going to be closer to 3. So we're going to do approximately 3 if we were to answer what is the square root of 8. So we're going to do a few. Okay, square root of 10. So we have to think the perfect squares, and if we want to really quick name them, and you should have them written somewhere: 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. And the way I'm doing this, remember, is 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25, 6 times 6, 7 times 7, 8 times 8, 9 times 9, and 10 times 10. And we should know pretty well the through 15. Okay, so square root of 10, we have the square root of 9 would be the one, it would be 10 would go right in between these two numbers, right? And square root of 16. Now, we have to think, what is the square root of 9? It's 3. Square root of 16 is 4. Is 10 closer to 9, or is it closer to 16? Well, it's closer to 9. So the square root of 10 is got to be closer to 3. So approximately 3. Okay, let's do another one. 35 would fit right in between here. So perfect square 25, square root of 25, square root of 36. So because the square root of 35 would be between here, the square root would actually equal 5. It would be a number between 5 and 6. Well, is 35 closer to 36 or 25? Well, it's got to be closer to 36 because it's only 1 away. So it's going to be closer to 6. So it's going to be approximately 6. And this right here means that it's not exactly equal to, it's approximately. And if I ever do this, like this, that means that it's 6 point decimal, and actually, it's not going to be 6 point decimal. It's going to be, if I think of this as a number line, and this being 5, and this being 6, this is going to be in between here, so it's going to be 5, and then decimal numbers, right? But if I were going to round it to the nearest whole number, it would be 6. Okay, now if I look here, 100 is my biggest number, so I should actually go up. So 11 times 11, 12 times 12, 13 times 13, 14 times 14, and 15 times 15. So now 170 would go right in here. So square root of 169, that's 169, square root of 196, I think. Square root of 169 is 13. Square root of 196 is 14. So the square root of 170 is going to be pretty close to the square root of 169, which is 13. So my number is approximately 13. And sometimes I'll do this, showing that I should have some numbers after here. Okay, square root of 83. Well, 83 would fit right in between here. So it would be square root of 81, square root of 100. Square root of 81 is 9. Square root of 100 is 10. This number is closer to this number, so the square root of this has got to be closer to this. So it's going to be approximately 9. Okay, now this one gets a little more tricky because we have a negative on the outside here. And negative, kind of have to flip them around. So thinking of a number line, I might do a number line. 125 would be between 121 and 144. So negative square root of 121, that would be a negative 11, right? And negative square root of 144 would be a negative 12. Now if I see I have a negative 12, that's this number, this notch here, and this is negative 11. And this number right here would go in between these two and be closer to this one. So it would maybe go here. So square root of the negative square root. So it's going to be closer to negative 11, approximately negative 11, because it's closer on my number line to this dot here. Remembering that my number line, if I'm going negative, it's negative 11, negative 12, negative 13, negative 14. Okay. Here we have decimals. And remember when we are doing the decimals, we're going to take that decimal out. But in this case, since we're approximating, we're still going to just think of it as a number. So 44. Where would it go here? Well, it's still going to go in between here, right? No matter if it's a decimal or not. So square root of 36, square root of 49. And is it closer? Now, this is where it's almost right in the middle. If I think of 36 to 44, I have to go up. 36 to 40 is 4. And then 40 to 44 is another 4. So we have 8.8. That's the difference between these two radicand numbers. And then 44.8 and 49, well, if I have 45 to 49 is 4, so I have to go up 4.2. Now some people might be able to see that right away. I sometimes have to look at it a little more deeper, and that's okay. Okay, so what number is it closer to? It's going to be closer to the square root of 49, which is 7. Okay, so now the cube roots. Cube roots, we have to remember the first few cube roots. So sometimes if you want to write this all down, you could. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 times 2. If you have to do this, that's fine. 8. 3 times 3 is 27. 4 times 4 times 4, 64. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. 6, oh, not divide. 6 times 6 times 6. See, when it gets up here, I don't even know these. 7 times 7 times, off the top of my head. But can I figure it out? Yes, I can. 8 times 8 times 8. 512. 9 times 9 times 9. 729. And I don't look, if I look at these, I might not need this high, but okay, so, and if you need to do 1 cubed, 2 cubed equals 8. If you need to write that to remember these are 3's here. Okay, so the cube root of 25. Think about here, where does 25 lay? It will go right in between those two numbers. So it's going to be the cube root, 3 goes there, remember your index, of 8, and the cube root of 27. This equals 2, and this equals 3. So is 25 closer to 27 or 8? It's closer to 27. So this is going to be closer, approximately 3. Okay, same here. 62 would be between these two numbers. So it's going to be between the cube root of 27 and the cube root of 64. Because this one, well, cube root of 27 is 3, cube root of 64 is 4, 62 is closer to 64, so it's going to be approximately 4. Okay, 320. Here's one of those again. Okay, cube root of 216, cube root, oh, don't forget your 3. I'm trying to go fast and it's not working. So cube root of 216 is 6. Cube root of 343 is 7. Here I have to find the difference. Is this going to be closer to this one? Well, if you can't see right away that this is only going to be the difference of 23 between these two, and that I can take this handy dandy calculator and subtract 320 minus 216, trying to find that difference. And I see that's 104. So the difference here is 104. The difference here is 23. So it's going to be closer to this number, this cube root of this number, which is 7. Okay, and our one of our last ones, 129. Again, where does that go? It's going to fall between these two numbers, which is the cube root of 5 and the cube root of 6. Well, it's going to be closer to that 125, which is the cube root would be 5. I know, I'm sorry, I'm working really fast. Okay, the last stuff that we are going to do is ordering from least to greatest. And in this case, you're going to have to figure out what these numbers are approximately. So approximately 45 would be approximately 7, and 63 is really close to 64, which the square root is approximately, or is 8, so this would be approximately 8. And now we would just order them from least to greatest. 6, 7, but I'm not going to write 7, I'm going to write the square root of 45, then 8, square root of 63, and then 9. Do not write these numbers, make sure to write what they have here. Okay, second one, 8, 10, square root of 61, again, would be approximately 8. 71, you have to think 64 and 81. 71 has a square root, has 10 in between here and only 7 in between here. 1 second! So it's going to be closer to 8. But is it closer, is this one closer or is this one? Well, it's going to be, this one is closer because this between here, so this one has got to be smaller, right? So it's got to go 8, square root of 61, square root of 71, and then 10. Okay, your assignment. Here, make sure to do it on a separate sheet of paper.